I would like to take the chance to thank the President of the conference and the Scientific Committee for giving me the chance to stand here today. And also, I'd like to deliver special thanks from the Jordanian Ophthalmological Society, again for giving us the chance to bring 14 residents from all over Jordan to attend this adorable conference. So we strabismologists, we love our work, and I bet that each one of us would gather like these or collect such photos of the fascinating effect of the surgery, showing and bragging in front of everyone how lovely the results can be. But actually, we sometimes overlook and forget that squint can get messy, squint surgery can get messy, and can lead to various complications. They could vary from subtle, innocent, just leading to some discomfort, like corneal Dellin, or the change of the palpebral fissure width due to inferior rectus recession, for example, or could lead to serious life-threatening complications like, for example, scleral perforation, which can lead to vitreous hemorrhage, to retinal detachment, and even to endophthalmitis in some cases. Luckily, we don't see these. We don't see these usually. What we actually face, the most common complication that we face, is having to reoperate on the same patient again. Many patients come to us, and we can't be proud of making such an isotropic patient successfully into an exotropic one. Or the patient can come back again complaining of a newly onset diplopia, double vision after the surgery, or a persistent one. So we should stand a little bit then, pause and think, what went wrong? What led to the unsatisfactory results of our surgery? It could be something that happened in the preoperative evaluation or due to the surgery itself. But in fact, most complications or most errors occur during the evaluation because the surgery itself is usually a straightforward one. So I don't want to state them, I just want to give you some few examples of that. For example, this nice patient was referred to me so that I could correct her exotropia. By careful history taking and examination, I found out that this was no exotropia and it was just an eccentric fixation. So she would have been so unlucky, she would have come back again complaining of diplopia if I had corrected this large, seemingly exotropia. Monocular diplopia should also be excluded or ruled out because sometimes the patient might present with a long-standing squint and a newly emergent diplopia might come from a dislocated IOL, for example, and we would operate on the pre-existing squint thinking that that was the problem. This is another example where errors can occur. This is a patient with anomalous head posture. He has nystagmus, trying to bring his eyes in the null point. If we ignored examining the patient in the primary position and didn't see that he was actually also esotropic, we would have probably done like Kestenbaum procedure, which would have involved lateral rectus recession and medial rectus resection, which could have aggravated his pre-existing esotropia. In long-standing paralytic squints, we should also never forget that there could be also a coexistent restrictive element from the long-standing palsy. There would be a restriction of the antagonist in the same eye, the ipsilateral. Also, in paralytic strabismus, we should also always decide which eye is the fixating one and never overlook a secondary angle, because if we correct the angle, the true angle in primary position, and overlook that the patient is actually preferring to fixate with the other eye due to any reason, he could also be undercorrected and unsatisfied after the surgery. In addition, if a patient comes with double vision and he's never corrected or he never fuses with stacking the prisms, especially in horizontal ones, I would give you example, an esotropia, a V-pattern esotropia, and he never fuses with the presumed angle that he has, we should also think of torsional strabismus, because that could be bilateral superior oblique palsy. This is another patient who was referred to me as bilateral sixth nerve palsy, and what he had actually was congenital esotropia and with cross fixation, and he was never examined properly to see the ductions. Pseudo-oblique overaction could also be misdiagnosed. Other errors can occur during measurement of the strabismus. Like I said, we should always measure the angle in the primary position, not ignoring a coexistent anomalous head posture. A Hershbeck test is a very crude method, and it's not like we have always taught 1 millimeter does not equal 7 degrees and does not equal 15 prism diopters. It could mean more. Stacking improper prism position can lead to errors, and addition of stacked prisms is not simply numerical addition of these prisms. As Thompson and Guyton has found, like they have a very complicated table which say that stacking prisms, for example, 50 plus 10 does not equal 10. The effect actually measures 77 prism diopter. We should never overlook cyclorefraction. We might need to repeat it again and again, and to check for the need of bifocals. Regarding surgical timing, this could vary between different schools, whether you're from the German school, from the American, but what everyone agrees upon, that surgery must be done when we are sure that it's a surgical case and after the patient is enough evaluated. Surgical decision and dose are usually straightforward. We usually pick the correct muscle, fortunately, and we can rely upon different calculation methods, equations, or even tables. Sometimes we get surprised during the surgery of atypical anatomy, or the patient didn't tell us, or we didn't examine thoroughly before the surgery. We can get surprised by glaucoma stent or scleral buckle or an accessory muscle. In summary, what I would like to make you take a note of is that we can decrease the rate of redo surgeries by proper preoperative management and evaluation, because actually, as my favorite author has said, if a stone hits a lake, the lake will never be the same again. And so is the muscle. If we operate once on the muscle, it will lose its resilience, its elasticity, and it wouldn't be really very easy and straightforward to reoperate again. Thank you for listening.